Okay, so hello YouTube. I just wanted to do a quick review of Iron Man 2. Here again with my friend Richard.
How's it going? Bingo Theater.
This is the second time you've seen the movie.
This is the second time I've seen the movie.
You saw it opening weekend?
I did.
I had to work at the video store. Okay, so made this big fat deal about not talking about it until we got here. So
It's true.
I'm sure you're on the edge of your seat. What did I think, right?
Yeah, what did you think, Cassidy? Let's get this out.
Okay. I liked it.
Good.
I liked the movie. I had fun with it. I thought that it was a worthy sequel. And I do think that the first one's a little bit better. There's, I think, some obvious problems with the movie. But I think that, in general, it lived up to what the first one set up.
Yeah. No, I very much agree. It was a... I thought that the movie... I also thought that the movie was a good movie. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it, but I did think that it didn't live up quite to the first one. Basically what happens is Tony Stark, he's come out with his Iron Man persona.
Come out of the
Iron Closet. Yeah. That's funny. He's come out of the Iron Closet, and basically everybody, they want a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Want a piece of it, and it's kind of tearing him in different directions, kind of tearing Pepper in different directions. It's kind of, and he doesn't really know which way he's going.
Yeah.
And he's kind of trying to handle everything by himself, and so...
The military's after the technology. His main competition, played by Sam Rockwell, played wonderfully by Sam Rockwell, and wants to weaponize it, and he's saying it's not a weapon, so that he can kind of keep it privatized. He's really gotten comfortable as the rock star superhero. He plays this part perfectly, and this is like Robert Downey Jr.'s part, I think.
Yeah,
especially 2 movies in, and then probably with an Avengers coming up.
Well, yeah, Avengers, wink, wink, nod, nod, nudge, nudge. Joss Whedon directing.
Yeah.
But it's going there. No, he does a good job. He's done a good job. He really does the 2 sides of the part. He does the he does the narcissistic, the public eye view, where he's the big shot. He is Iron Man, and then he does the other side where he's
really is righteous.
He's down to earth. He's scared of things. He doesn't understand.
Yeah.
They bring up the daddy issues.
Also, I don't know, is this a spoiler? He has problems with his invention that's keeping him alive, and his and it's poisoning him. Because of it, he's kind of feeling like reckless, and he just doesn't care anymore. He's giving his company away, and he
it's something on your lip.
He's giving his company away, and he's kind of drinking a lot more, which that's a huge deal in the comics if you know anything about that. Iron Man was one of the first public superheroes to have a drinking problem, and have the comics actually address alcoholism with one of their main characters.
Yeah, it's actually even in the bottle. I was very much enjoying that. I very much enjoyed Scarlett Johansson and how they portrayed the character Black Widow in general.
Who's a hottie?
Oh, don't tell my wife. She already knows.
She doesn't watch the internet.
We talked about it. She has a crush on her too, apparently.
Who doesn't? Yeah, acting plus dialogue. I think the dialogue both in the first one and in this one are both really good and very funny.
The dialogue's very funny. I would say that the dialogue in the first one was a little bit more snappy and a little bit more crisp.
Yeah, but everything in the first one was a little bit more crisp.
Yeah. So, I mean, the wonderful acting, what it really brought to it is it really grounded it, and you got some human characters.
Yeah.
Which is the Marvel model in general.
Exactly.
Marvel being the comic book, the company that produced these.
I felt like for a long time that second act really drags.
Yeah.
You start to lose focus of what's even going on in the plot. What are we supposed to be paying attention to? I won't spoil too much, but there's the scene with Tony drunk in the iron suit at the party, and it isn't quite the jazz sequence from Spider-Man 3, but it's kind of getting close.
Yeah.
It's kind of getting close.
I don't really know what it could have been right there. I can kind of agree with you, and I'm kind of like, about
Well, I
it.
think that scene, its purpose was for pacing, but
yeah.
it could have done something else. We lose our villain for what seems like a long time.
Yeah.
And there's just like this incredible amount of buildup that's going on in this second act, and it just feels like it keeps building and building and building. And I'm starting to be like, okay, let's get to the point again. I feel like the movie's kind of starting to stray.
Yeah, and I think I didn't really think
But
about
I think
that.
the dialogue and the humor saved that second act from being just completely boring.
Oh yeah, static and I mean the other thing is too is I really liked the scene with Nick Fury. Spoiler
Yeah.
alert, Nick Fury
That's
and
not.
it's not really, but but with Nick Fury and him in the donut shop. I thought the dialogue between them was.
That's when the movie kindly came back.
That's when it started to come around, and I really. But
One
very
thing I will say, we've been talking a lot about how cool Robert Downey Jr. is and how cool he is as Iron Man. I agree, but I think that the big problem with that second act is there wasn't enough Iron Man. Too much Tony Stark, not enough Iron Man. And
I can see that,
I think this movie could have, learned from that a little bit and said, I don't know, create maybe some conflict or something. There also wasn't enough Whiplash. You lost him pretty much that entire middle act. He's tinkering away, building stuff for Sam Rockwell's character, who's in competition with Tony Stark. But for a long time you don't see him. It's dealing with his complex that he's dying and stuff like that too much. And we could have used maybe a couple more conflicts between Iron Man
they had
and
the
him.
thing where him and Rhodey fight. One thing that I thought, this is also a spoiler alert, so just cover your earmuffs if you need to do so, is I thought the ending was a little anticlimactic.
Yeah, I agree. Considering how long the build-up of the second act was, I was expecting a much bigger showdown between Whiplash, played by Mickey Rourke, and his inventions and stuff, and it kind of feels like it gets wrapped up really fast.
Well, there's also a lot of fight between his inventions, and Iron Man and War Machine, and the Whiplash character.
Yeah.
Like it seems like that really is very, very, very short. And maybe it's just I'm trained to be like, that's the big baddie. We have a big long fight scene between that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just seemed to kind of just be like, meh. What I can say is that I think the movies that have been done the best when it's a comic book adaptation are ones that directly go from source material and pull something.
True.
And
but I think the Iron Man movies do a really good job at blending original ideas with source material.
Oh, they do. I mean, you have to. You can't.
Yeah.
It can't be spot on, and you're never going to please us.
Yeah.
We're a horrible beast.
Oh yeah, fanboys. You don't want to.
We're beast boys. We're terrible.
Maybe at the end we'll have to give 2 reviews, like our actual reviews, and then what it would be if we weren't such huge geeks.
Good luck.
I never had a problem with like fanboy issues with this, though. I wasn't watching the movie saying they're getting this wrong, they're getting that wrong, they're getting this wrong.
Oh no,
I think the problems with the movie are movie problems, not comic book problems.
I think you're right.
Because I think the big fat problem with the movie is the pacing. It goes from like fast, slow, fast.
Yeah, and the ending was a little too fast. Even.
Yeah, I felt like they spent so much time on that second act that they kind of rushed the ending.
Yeah,
and they should have, had a more subtle gradation into those action sequences again.
No, I can completely agree with it. I can agree with that.
It was very much kind of sandwiched.
Yeah,
But I'd say as a grade, I'd still give it a solid B. I think Iron Man, the first one, is more crisp, it's more concise, it's better paced. But I think this one is a worthy sequel, and I still have fun with it. I'll probably see it again in theater.
No, I give it actually the very, very same grade, B.
Yeah.
It was solid. It was fun.
I still think it's one of the better superhero movies.
it definitely is. It's one of the better
Despite
ones.
all of its problems, I think that it still knows what it wants to be.
Well, we sat here and
Nitpick.
we nitpicked and stuff like that, but it's still solid. You know, it had some things that were kind of weird and kind of hung up, but overall it was fun and it kept you there and it's going to keep you going back to the other movies.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a huge draw for the Avengers movie.
Well, because we got Thor coming up, Captain America.
Right.
Well, Thor's coming up in 2011, Captain America in 2011, and then we've got Avengers in 2012.
Yeah,
So-
if the world doesn't end.
Yeah. Well, it's going to end after that because.
Yeah. We'll go see Avengers and then the world will end.
Yeah, and then we'll have to run around with John Cusack, and it'll be awkward for everyone.